Okay, so when we're looking at employment hubs or industries, which are economic drivers, you want to use ID profile. Now, the new census data for ABS is going to come out 2021, which will be a great tool to use because you can go real deep onto actual suburbs, not actual councils, which I was waiting to get released as well. But anyway, so when you come to ID profiles, it's a great tool to use. Now, go to economies of a particular location, and for this location, we're looking at Albury again. Now, this is something that is a secret little tip that I like to look at. So we've got employed residents. Now, there's actually more jobs available, so local jobs, than what there is residents, which is a bonus. So it means there's demand for jobs here. Now, it gives us a GDP, it gives us our population, local businesses, etc. Now, you can see your large industries in this location is healthcare and social assistance. Now, if you click on any of these, it's going to take you to those jobs. Now, I'm going to go to local employment and go by industries, by census, which is ABS data as well. This is a good website, but it gives you everything. You got so many things here that you can use and understand what's going on. Now, once this loads, here we go. So it's going to load up to our current information of what we can gather for this particular location. Now, as we can see the percentage of the agricultural sector in Albury. We can see the mining, manufacturing, etc., etc. Now, this is the state average of New South Wales. And what you can see here is, you start to see industries like your retail higher than the state average. You start to see your manufacturing higher than the state average. Then you want to start seeing you got your healthcare is higher than the state average. Your education is higher than the state average. Where was it? Assistance that we had, that was support and assistance. Support and assistance, that was one of them. Oh, yes, it's all together, sorry. Social assistance all together. It's not higher than the state average. Now, you start to see other sectors that are higher than the state average, your public administration. Now, what you want to look at, so if you go to your healthcare sector, you can see from 2011 in Albury to the current 2016, it's been increasing, which is a good sign. Now, if you go to the same thing for your education system, it's been increasing over time. If you go to maybe your public administration, you can kind of see it's kind of decreasing a little bit, but it's not a bad thing because it's not a significant amount, but it's something to keep an eye out on. Now, you can see your other sectors that are starting to perform, and then you can start to see as well, some are just on par and they're just, tracking along sideways. They have increased because if you look at the numbers of those sectors, they have actually increased over time. Some sectors, like your financial sector here, you can see it's actually decreased a little bit. Now, this is something that you want to look out for, and you want to have around 5 sectors that are higher than the state average. So that gives you, I guess, a good decision, informed decision that see, this economy is actually quite strong. It's higher than the state average. It's looking good. As well, you want to look at past history, which is something super important because you want to know what's going on with these sort of sectors. And if you start to look at your infrastructure projects, they might be heavy on, for this financial year or this new budget that's come out. They're doing stuff to improve their construction sector in this particular suburb. They're improving maybe the financial sector in this particular suburb or location, I should say. And so what you do is then start looking at financial industries and improvements to these particular, in Albury, for existence, and see if there's something happening there. Or if you look at mining, so this is a good way to look at things as well. Let's just say you're looking at a mining town. Mining town can be quite risky, and if they're very one-sided on mining, and then all these other sectors are falling behind the state average and they're not performing quite well, and they're very behind the state average, then you start to say, okay, well, it just doesn't look quite good, because if mining leaves, what does that look like? So it minimizes your risk. You don't just want one or two sectors dominating in a particular location. You want multiple. Five is a good solid number. And five will give you, okay, there's a lot of things happening here. And then you start looking at infrastructure projects as well. And infrastructure projects, if there's massive money getting spent on healthcare, if there's massive money getting spent on construction, or, your education, you know, to see, okay, there's a lot of things happening here. Your manufacturing, as you can see, your manufacturing is actually starting to drop in this location. So that's something that is, I think, in all of this country of Australia, things are getting manufactured here as much as what it used to be. But you can see there's going to be sectors where the manufacturing actually is booming, and so that's a good thing as well. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's things that you want to be looking at for your retails and your healthcare and your education, which are massive sectors, and your financial services, and that's something that contributes massively to the economy, especially construction as well. So you get all this information, and you can actually. So if I go up here, we go, export. You can put this in Excel already. Or you can copy all of this and you can put it on an Excel spreadsheet. Now, always track everything for your particular, locations. Now, there's a thing that's I want to see if this is up and loaded yet. No, but you can make an account here that's going for free off the census data that's coming out in 2021, which will be powerful data because everything's going to get updated. You're going to see what's going on at the moment. You're going to see different trends. You're going to see a lot of different things. So keep your eye out on this. Get this data. Look at this data, and this will give you at a suburb level. So it will even go more into like an SA3, which gives you. This is like an SA2, SA3 level. So what I mean by SA2 and SA3, and SA3 will give you a ratio of up to a population to a certain degree, which can be quite inaccurate. So you want to get something at an SA3 level, which can give you up to a range. I think the population they scale it up to 100,000 people. So actually, you know what? I'll give you an example. SA3 data. Here we go. Pretty sure SA3 can go to a larger scale of population growth. So then that gives you an understanding of what the population goes. So it goes from 30 to 130,000 people. So then you got your SA2, which is, if it's here, where is it? SA4. SA2 is over 20,000 people. SA2, sorry. Here we go. Gone on a bit of a detour. So good. SA2 is 3,000 to 25,000. So this is something that you don't want to get SA2 data at all. You want to be getting SA3 data. So that's a little cheeky tip that I've got in there. Now all this data here is from SA3 level. So it gives you actually more of a solid base of information. Some data hubs, they have settings, and that can deter you and give you false readings. So you want to be making sure you get SA3 data. And once this new form comes out of the Census 21, you're going to be able to get a lot more information and more accurate information because it's from 2021. So don't go beat the too deterred and say, oh, look, this information's old, because some of this information here, if we look at this is building approvals, before we were at employment hubs, building approvals is at the current year. So some of this information is live, some of it is a bit laggy, but it's still information that will help you and get you the right result.